14th of June 2022 at 3 p.m. We are now live. Membership of the Cabinet, we've got apologies from Councillor Turner, Councillor Khan and Councillor Davis. We've got no other apologies. Minutes of previous meetings, are they a correct record? Thank you. Item 3, declaration of interest. If any member has interest to declare, please complete the relevant form and hand it in to Yolandi after the meeting. That includes any councillors who are joining in online. Item 4, admission of the public. There is no members of the public. Item 5, any deputations or petitions? Have you had any? No. Item 6, questions by members of the public. No members of the public. Item 7, questions by elected members. Councillor Cassie Scott, you've got a question?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, my question is to Councillor Simpson. In our final year, last year, when we ended Cabinet, the final Cabinet, Councillor Bolt made a statement to Councillor Simpson and asked him what seat he would be standing in after we lost the Denby Dale ward. Perhaps you could enlighten us, Councillor Simpson.
Thank you very much, Cathy, for your question. I thank Councillor Bolt once again for his question at the back end of the last municipal year. I think given the 14% swing against the Conservatives in Mirfield, that could be fertile ground for us to build on this Labour majority administration next year. But due to the 10% swing in Denby Dale at this year's elections, I'm going to be unavailable to stand, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson, and thank you, Cassie, for that question. Have you got a supplementary? I need to ask you. Have you got a supplementary?
No, I think that news will travel fast.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. Item 8 is appointment of Cabinet and portfolios. This is for notice. It's already gone out and been agreed and declared, but just for formalities. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. If not, let's get a second and move it. Right, you all agreed? Yeah, thank you. Okay, show of hands and we'll move on. Item 9, digital switchover, replacement of analogue care phones. This is Councillor this is Councillor Carol Patterson. We've had Mother's apologies, so we've got people, others that are moving and these reports. So Councillor Carol Patterson, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, a very simple report, really. The UK analogue telephone network will cease at the end of 2025, and meanwhile, we've had 7,000 vulnerable citizens that receive our in-house care phone home safety service. 3,500 of those are already transferred to a digital service, but there are 3,500 people that still need to be transferred from an analogue service to a digital service. I mean, this report is to secure basically the resources that are needed to do that, and it's intended that it will take about 18 months to finish that, starting this month and hopefully finishing December 23. It's the actual platform has already been upgraded, so we are only talking about those 3,500 residents who have got systems in their homes that need replacing. But we also need some additional staff to help with that transfer. We haven't got sufficient day-to-day services to be able to do that. And alongside that, of course, actually there is also quite a large increase in both the volume of calls and the numbers of people using such a care phone system as well. So that's what this report is asking for. We did back in February agreed not a lump sum, but there was a capital bid for funding for adult social care, and this digital switchover was part of that, but we're now wanting to draw down the £1,381 million that is actually going to cost. So the report basically, I say, is asking that we agree, the Cabinet agrees to that proposed capital investment. Those staffing costs, by the way, that I mentioned earlier, will be capitalised, and then delegate the authority to the Strategic Director of Adults and Health to enter into and execute a contract with all the chosen suppliers for that digital replacement equipment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Patterson. Anybody got any comments or any questions? Viv, you want to second it?
I'm very happy to second it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item. Oh, sorry. Yeah, show of hands. I'm too keen to try and get going. Anyway, that's carried. Thank you very much. Item 10. Councillor support for the Kirklees Health and Care Place-Based Partnership Collaboration Agreement. Councillor Viv Kendrick, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair. We have a great advantage probably in Kirklees in that key organisations and services have worked cooperatively together in partnership for several years with pooled budgets, all working together collaboratively to address the health needs in Kirklees at a place level. The Health and Care Act 2022 abolishes the clinical commissioning groups, one of the partners in our previous iteration, if you like, and now seeks or moves towards the creation of integrated care boards. There will be a West Yorkshire Integrated Care Board, and below that 5 place-based care boards, one of which will be Kirklees, and all the organisations and partners on that care board are asked to sign up to a non-legally binding agreement about making the best collaboration and the best use of resources together to provide the best health care in Kirklees, meeting Kirklees residents' needs. It's as simple as that. As I say, it's non-legally binding, but it does direct accountability from organisations, and really it's a fairly simple recommendation that approval be given to Richard Parris, Strategic Director for Adults and Health, to sign the collaboration agreement on behalf of the Council. This will demonstrate the Council's commitment to the new partnership arrangements for planning and delivering health and care in Kirklees. And I have to say, this agreement is not only, as I said, non-legally binding, but is set for review periodically, and I think the first review within 6 months or such. So I propose, Chair, that Cabinet considers agreeing and accepting the recommendation on page 29 at item 5.
Thank you, Councillor Kendrick. Any questions or comments on that? No, I'd like to just support the recommendations Councillor Viv Kendrick has just gone through. And just a bit of context regarding how we have got to where we are. You're probably all aware that there was a shadow integrated care system that was in operation across West Yorkshire and Harrogate for a number of years, and that was initiated by the 5 West Yorkshire leaders plus the leader of Craven and I think Harrogate. Initially when we started on this journey, we were a bit reluctant and a bit sceptical that, you know, will it work? You know, we've got 7 leaders of local authorities, and within the health sector, you've got the Foundation Trust, the primary care networks, then the CCGs, the acute trusts, and the Mental Health Foundation Trust, and their chairs and their chief execs would clearly outnumber us. So we were a bit weary that how will that pan out. Before this new structure was formalised, Councillor Tim Smith was chairing the integrated care system, co-chairing it with one of the clinical persons from the organisations. And to be fair, I think we've done a lot of groundwork in West Yorkshire, and Rob Webster, who's now the new chief exec, he was like the chief exec designate who was leading on that, and he spent a lot of work around that. And I think that we're in a good space compared to the other ICSs and ICBs across the country, because we more or less had a pilot that was running. we've got a new chair who's called Kath Elliott, who's actually doing the whole West Yorkshire Integrated Care Board. Besides what we've talked about the structures, there's also another reference group that the leaders sit on that meet on a regular basis to actually make sure that the ICBs and the ICS system across West Yorkshire and Harrogate is actually coordinated. And one of the things that we do as local authority leaders is put that place-based understanding in terms of how they are connecting better to our communities. It is new, it is challenging, but I think it's in steps in the right direction, and like we've said, it's more about collaboration rather than sort of competition. So the element of competition is actually completely disregarded. The other thing is that you're probably aware that we had a national corporate peer challenge a few years ago, and one of the things that the peer reviewers recommended that we had 2 CCGs across Kirklees, and that was causing a problem in terms of differential services, and we weren't getting things joined up. So this will get rid of that arrangement in terms of having 2 separate CCGs. So that in itself is good, I think, because it actually completely binds the North and South Kirklees together, because we are one Kirklees as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I'm really excited, really pleased that this has formulated itself, and now we just need to make sure we deliver it. So if there's no more comments, a quick show of hands and we'll move on. Thank you very much, members. Next is item 11, Corporate IT Capital Refresh Budget 2022-2025. Councillor Cathy Scott, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. So I'll just outline a briefing on our current position. So the IT services is maintained through the capital budget, mainly to refresh our hardware over the next 10 years. The last cycle of 5 years, we had a budget of 900,000 per annum. This new cycle is for 3 years, and it will maintain a budget of, I'm asking today for approval, it will maintain a budget of 900,000 per annum. We are suffering the effects from global chip prices that have increased exponentially, and it's above the inflation. Everything is happening at the moment, so post-pandemic, we're feeling the pinch here too. Over the last 2 years, we've had a focus around keeping councillors and the workforce productive at home, and also using hybrid settings. So overall, we're looking in the next 3 years what we will do. So what we're committed to is we will continue to ensure that everybody has the right to equipment and to work on a hybrid, flexible way, to invest in data storage and processing, to provide the capacity of our systems and intelligence over the next 5 years, to invest in our core networks, to bring more resilience to our IT systems that can be, so that enable us to be 99.9% of our time online, should we choose to. Invest in Dewsbury to make it more resilient and a key part of our network, and to provide a super high speed services between Huddersfield and Dewsbury. To create capacity across the networks that offer better services to our staff and our communities, settings, and also for care homes. Because they're one of the elements that we always tend to forget, that there is some other strategic assets out there that need to have the good quality Wi-Fi to support the digital inclusion. So we're mainly supporting our following ambitions to support our technology strategy in getting the basics right, enabling resilient and available infrastructures, commissioning applications fit for the future, using data intelligently and securely, and connecting people, businesses and technology. Can I just draw your attention, members, to page 72, item 7. There's a really comprehensive list here of what we're committing to. And we're looking at replacing 6,500 laptops, rolling out on an annual basis. So if you look at them items there, there's quite a lot and a comprehensive list that we will be doing. So I move that Cabinet support this recommendation, that the report and approve 900,000 per annum for this.
Thank you. I'd like to second that, and just to recap and quickly summarise what Cathy's saying. that we need to make sure that we keep our IT equipment and the investment that goes in there at 900k per annum keep on rolling over. And I think we all realise that during the pandemic, when we were in lockdown, we were logging on Teams and Zoom, and our IT staff were building up their resilience, and they pulled out all the stops to make sure that the business continued. And I remember, and I'm sure you do as well, that all the meetings we were having with communities, with our partners, with communities, was on Teams and Zoom. Obviously, we're used to seeing Kyle 24/7, and he comes to our homes and comes to our workplace and our desk, and he'll sort our problems out. But there's a whole team of great IT officers, and we've got one on my left-hand side. What was your name? Matthew. They're beavering behind the scenes, and we sort of like completely overlook that. But to make sure that this actually goes out live, and we actually try and keep transparent, there's a whole infrastructure and the whole support team that is behind it. So I'd like to thank Matthew for making things work. And before the meeting, he was here as well, making sure that we actually were connected. The future is still challenging, because we will still need IT support to make sure that we enable our staff to work in a hybrid way, to make sure we still feel connected. Because although we are in the pandemic, work the way we knew it isn't the same, because people have got other priorities. There's cost of living crisis that's actually dawning on us, and so people might feel better and more secure working from home. So we need to understand that. And the infrastructure that we're developing will need to keep on improving. So wholeheartedly support the recommendations you made, and I think we just need to say thank you for all our IT staff who are actually excellent, and thank you, and keep the hard work and the good work going. Any comments? Eric, so your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I do agree with every word you said about our IT staff. They're absolutely marvellous. Even today I've been in the office and working with Kyle. But can I just mention that 3.4 of this report is also very important. Cathy did a very comprehensive run through, but I didn't realise that all the new technology actually uses less power, which is not only great for the climate, but it's great for everything. I didn't know that, well, I did know. Some years ago, all our IT equipment were mechanically cooled. I can remember going to Batley quite a number of years ago, and where the IT, the one computer, why huge, it was almost like it was on the size of a van. Honestly, it was. And back at the town hall there, and it had to be cooled constantly, otherwise it would have just burnt out. And today we've got small units which are so powerful, it's absolutely wonderful. But I just bring us back to this 3.4 about technology, how it's constantly improving and constantly less to run and much better for the environment too. Thank you, Chair, that's all I wish to say.
Thank you very much. Show of hands. We approve the report. Thank you very much, members. And that is the end of the meeting. Thank you very much for your time, and good night, and have a nice day.